for tuning in to the Wingspace podcast. This podcast is not a replacement for mental health treatment or professional health care. In case of crisis or emergency, please contact your local healthcare provider or dial 911.
Hey there, and welcome to the Wingspace podcast. In today's episode, I am going to be sharing with you why laughter truly is the best medicine. So sit back, take a listen, and don't be afraid to laugh.
Hey Southern Maryland, are you ready to beat the brain fog and get focused? Join us for Hope and Healing's upcoming wellness workshop, Hocus Focus 2, in collaboration with Essential Blends Aromatherapy. Connect with community members and create your very own aromatherapy products for focus while learning new coping skills for clearing brain fog. On-site childcare will be provided for $5 a child, and pre-registration is required. So sign up today by visiting hopehealingtherapy.com or visiting our link in bio at Hope Healing Therapy Wellness on Instagram.
Hey there, excited to talk with you today on the Wingspace podcast about laughter. If you are listening to this, I hope that you can sense the smile in my voice and you might hear a chuckle here and there. And if you are watching, then maybe my smile will bring a smile to your face as well. Today we're going to talk about laughter and why it truly is the best medicine. But first I have to tell you how I found myself with this message. When I realized we were going to be publishing an episode on Friday the 13th in the month of October, I thought, man, that would be a fun episode to do something about spooky, scary, something Halloween, Friday the 13th-ish. And every time I sat down to think about it and to plan, the only thing I could come up with was laughter. I just kept getting this idea of laughter in my mind. So I'm going to run with that today. I'm going to share with you the science behind laughter. Then I'm going to tell you some things you can do to bring a little bit more laughter in your life. And then we're going to end with some pretty corny Halloween jokes. So during this episode, I hope that you can hear the smile and maybe a little chuckle now and again. Whether you're listening or watching or both, you can have an opportunity to laugh. So we have often heard this idea that laughter is the best medicine. And, is it just a cliche? Is it just a saying, or is it true? Well, according to the National Library of Medicine's National Center for Biotechnology Medicine and the Mayo Clinic, there is something scientific about laughter. You may or may not have heard me talk about this idea of we all carry a bucket around and there's things that we do and other people do for us that either empty or fill our bucket. Well, the National Center for Biotechnology Medicine talks about us having a well, and that all the things that we do in life that have a negative impact on us, so depression and anxiety and stress and grief and all of those things, empties our well, but then laughter fills it up. And laughter is something that us as adults, we forget to do. There's been studies that show that children laugh more than 400 times a day. And us adults, maybe we laugh 15 times a day. You heard those numbers correctly. Children laugh over 400 times a day. Adults, we're barely hitting 15, which means we're not even laughing once an hour. So today, I want you to understand why we need to laugh, how we can increase that, and then hopefully my corny Halloween jokes are going to help you to laugh. The science behind laughter is pretty cool, actually. So the Mayo Clinic talks about short-term and long-term effects of laughter. So from a short-term perspective, it increases our oxygen intake, right? Because we're laughing, we're gasping, we're pulling in lots of air. So it increases our oxygen intake, which then stimulates our heart, stimulates our lungs, and stimulates our muscles. So it really kind of gets our body going. We live kind of sedentary lives, so those things get a little stagnant sometimes. It also increases endorphins, which are all of the good feeling, the hormones in our body that give us good feelings. And it increases and then decreases the stress response. So you have to remember that stress is good stress and bad stress. So when we laugh, we're causing some good stress in our bodies, and so the laughter increases that stress response, and then as we come back down off that laughter, it decreases that stress response. If you're watching on YouTube right now, apparently the sun must have gone behind some clouds because it got really dark in my office, and I looked like I was a glowing ghost. So right along with the Halloween theme here. Going along with more short-term effects of laughter is that this whole process of laughter, we get our whole bodies involved in it, right? So it increases and then decreases our heart rate and our blood pressure, which ultimately brings us back to a relaxed state. So it's kind of like we shuffle things up a little bit, we mix things up, we get it all excited, and then it comes back down to a relaxed state. And through all of that, it stimulates our circulation, which we know things get stagnant. We know that if we're not moving, if we're kind of sitting around, then things just kind of get stuck. And so on a short-term basis, I mean, those are some really great effects that we can get from laughter. You may or may not have seen the movie Patch Adams with Robin Williams, where he played a doctor, and he would like dress up as a clown, and he just brought a lot of laughter to the patients that he treated. And a quote is, "The most radical act anyone can commit is to be happy." Now, happiness, we can get into that a whole nother day, because I know that there's a bigger discussion about, we'll just be happy. But we can hold back laughter and we can hold back enjoyment. So I would encourage you to consider that radical act of laughing and smiling and finding bits of happiness more than 15 times in a day. Because from a long-term perspective, we know that, again, there's been tons of research that shows that folks that are filled with negative thoughts, they're, the simplest way I can explain this is that you have lots and lots of brain cells you have lots of brain cells in your brain, and you have lots of cells in your body. And as those cells reproduce, if you have negative thoughts, then it fills those cells with negative energy. Trust me, there's science behind this. So if you are filled with negative thoughts, then it's going to increase the stress inside your body, because you can just imagine lots of stress and lots of anxiety and worry and negative thoughts that are filled inside of the cells within your body. So if you're laughing and you're smiling on a more regular basis, then what ends up happening is that you're filled with more positive thoughts. And that means that your body has less stress inside. So I'm not saying that you have to think of the world as roses and rainbows and, fluffy pink elephants or anything like that. But we can be intentional about having positive thoughts, because ultimately it's going to help us to then be more receptive to the idea of laughing, and it's going to cause decreased stress within our body. Laughter relieves pain, because the process of laughing and engaging our full system causes the body to release natural painkillers. So, when I read that, I thought about like when we hit our funny bone. We can't not laugh when we hit our funny bone. I don't know why it's called the funny bone. Maybe I should have looked that up for this episode, but we hit our funny bone and we laugh, but then the pain goes away. So there has to be something around that, right? So we laugh, and it helps to relieve pain. Which, if you have seen that movie, Patch Adams, you know that those kiddos were in some pretty significant situations medically, and they were laughing and they were having good medical responses, and they were not suffering in a lot of pain. Some of them were having pain, but they were also having that release of natural painkillers. It increases our personal satisfaction because it helps us to cope, helps us to see things just a little bit more positively, rather than always negatively or feeling all the stress of that, because our bodies are feeling less stress, so we can cope a little better, and we're also making connections with other people through laughter. I'm going to get to that in a minute. And ultimately, laughter improves mood. It decreases stress, it decreases depression, it decreases anxiety, it increases happiness, and it increases our self-esteem. So I'm not going to suggest today that we all become stand-up comedians or that we find ourselves watching Comedy Central all the time. But there are some really simple things that we can do in order to bring a little bit of laughter and humor into our daily life. The very first thing that we can do is we can smile more often. So here's the thing. Our brain contains things called mirror neurons. It's what helps babies to learn facial expressions, because if someone smiles, then they smile back. If somebody grimaces, then they might make a grimace face. The same thing happens with us. It's kind of the science behind why people yawn and then somebody else yawns. It's the mirror neurons. So it's kind of hard to not smile when other people around you are smiling. The same thing is true with laughter. If somebody else is laughing, even if what they say really isn't that funny, sometimes just watching them laugh can be humorous and it makes us laugh. So don't hold it back. Enjoy that and find opportunities to put humor in your life, whether that means putting some funny jokes as screensavers on your phone or on your computer, or when you go into the grocery store next time, go read a couple of funny cards in the card section. Surround yourself with opportunities to laugh. Listening to or reading little jokes, comic strips posted up maybe next to your desk, watching funny TV shows. Have you ever noticed that when we watch a sitcom, there's that piped in laughter? It's because when they laugh, the artificial audience laughs, then we laugh. So watch some funny TV or some funny movies and just laugh, and don't be afraid to laugh. The other thing is to not be afraid to play. When we're kids, we play all the time. We play games, we run around, we laugh, we have a good time, and then when we become adults, for some reason, we decide that we're going to take ourselves really seriously and we're not going to play anymore. I can tell you that some of the most fun that I have had as an adult is when we play backyard kickball games as a family. And I mean my 70-ish year old parents and aunts and uncles, all the way down to the littlest kid that, is so cute running base to base. We have the best time playing kickball. So the next time you're at a family event, have a little fun. Play a game, whether it's a board game or a card game or an outside game. Don't be afraid to play, and don't take yourself so seriously. Come on, guys. Life is way too short to allow less than 15 times a day that we're going to laugh. We do really silly things. We need to laugh at ourselves sometimes. Some of you, if you've been listening for a little while now, or if you know me personally, you know that back at the end of July, I broke my arm. And my husband and I both kind of wish that we had like a backyard Ring camera in that area so that we could watch the debacle that was me falling. It's kind of a long story, but basically we were getting a snake out from underneath of our house. He was under the house, I was not. And I grabbed the snake by the tail and I was running backwards. I tripped over a ladder that I had just put in the yard. And my husband said it was so funny because my legs went up in the air. The snake goes flying. And then I jumped up and he thought I was running around trying to find the snake when really I was running around because I was pretty sure that I had just broken my arm. So once we realized that, I actually did need to get this snake out from underneath the house, and yes, I did actually break my arm, it was really funny to just sit back and to laugh and to realize, why didn't I remember I had just put a ladder there? And how could I have held on to this snake while I was falling? And then about an hour after we were at the hospital, my husband had said before we left, do you want to take a shower before you go? Like, we've been doing yard work and we both kind of were stinky. And about an hour into the hospital visit, I looked at him and I said, I really wish that I would have taken a shower because I stink right now. And we just started laughing. So here I am, I'm in pain, but we were laughing and we were having a good time. And you know what? We just have to realize that yes, it was a serious situation, and yes, my arm was broken, and ultimately I had to have a cast and all that good stuff. It was really funny. And at one point he was like, babe, I'm coming, while he's laughing. He was trying to climb out from underneath the house and he was like, I'm coming, and he's just laughing. And so I'm laughing with tears rolling down my face because my arm really hurt, but I just couldn't, both of us were just laughing. So don't take yourself too seriously. And the last thing I would say is celebrate the good stuff. Celebrate the good stuff that happens, whether it's the tiniest little success in life or it's the biggest thing ever to you. Celebrate it and then share it with other people, because when you're smiling and you're happy, they're going to be smiling and they're going to be happy, and you can enjoy each other, and together you can have this positive experience from laughter. Now, I realize that there's times in life where we have to be more serious, but sometimes we take ourselves a little bit too seriously. I know that my father passed away in December, and he was a comedian. His father was a comedian. They always had jokes, sometimes not the most appropriate jokes, and sometimes not in the most appropriate times, but they didn't take themselves too seriously, and they always wanted to make people smile. And my brother and I both spoke at the funeral, and my brother actually opened up his little speech with a joke that my dad had told him about a funeral when he was little, to help kind of break the ice. Because sometimes we just need to relax, and we need to realize that we can smile and we can laugh, and we just have to do it within, socially appropriate guidelines. So all that to say, you have to laugh. You have to laugh. We have to have fun. We can't take ourselves too seriously. When you see somebody smiling in the grocery store, smile back. When you hear somebody laughing, laugh with them. So I'm going to invite you to laugh with me, because I'm going to tell you a couple of really corny Halloween jokes. Now, my brother, if he's going to listen to this, which I know he will because he's a very good brother, he's going to probably make fun of me a little bit, because he is the ultimate dad joke guy. And he does it really well. He's got like good faces and good tones and all that good stuff, and I don't. So I'm just going to read you some funny jokes, and hopefully you find some opportunity to laugh. So here we'll start with, how do you fix a damaged jack-o'-lantern? You use a pumpkin patch. Why did the witch refuse to wear a flat hat? There was no point to it. I mean, come on, right? Let's laugh, have a little fun, even if you're just laughing at me for making a fool of myself, right? Who cares? What is a mummy's favorite type of music? Rap music. Why didn't the skeleton have fun at the party? He didn't have anybody to dance with. All right, one more for you. Why did the vampire need mouthwash? Because he had bad breath. All right, so my invitation for you today is to laugh. Go find something that can help you to laugh. Go listen to some funny jokes on a TV show, or just Google corny jokes, and you'll come up with all kinds of opportunities to read funny jokes. So I hope that you will find this episode just light and a little bit fun. And so as you go into what's likely to be a very stressful holiday season coming up, smile more, laugh more, connect with others, and don't take yourself too seriously. Have a great day.